Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to another edition of the Watchers in the Basement. And, Brittany, we've been doing this show for 3 years almost, maybe longer.
Is it really?
Almost 3 years, yeah. And we've done movie reviews, we've done TV show reviews, but we've never done a trailer reaction. So today is our first ever trailer reaction video. And, of course, it's our favorite character of all time, Morbius. Seriously, how much about Morbius do you know before you heard about this movie?
Zero. Like I literally know nothing about Morbius other than the name is very similar to that of Mobius in Loki.
Right. I knew a little bit more than you did. I remember Morbius is one of the characters in one of the Spider-Man cartoons that I've seen.
Okay.
So I'd heard of the character. So once again, we're here to take a look at the final trailer for Morbius. And if you've watched the Watchers in the Basement in the past, we talked about this before, but let me just run through it real quick again. Morbius has been delayed 6 times. The first trailer for the movie originally dropped in January of 2020. The first release date was supposedly going to be July 10th for the movie of 2020. Now it's been pushed all the way back to April 1st, April Fool's Day of this year. It's coming up in about a month. And we are here to talk about the final trailer. Of course, Morbius stars Jared Leto. He plays Michael Morbius, a doctor turned vampire killer or vampire villain / anti-hero within the Spider-Man universe. And Morbius is one of the 900 Marvel Comics characters that Sony has the film rights to. That's right, 900. So with No Way Home success, expect to see a lot more of the Spider-Man universe characters coming to the big screen. So, Brittany, we were talking about this off mic, and I was telling you that I think the reason why they dropped the final trailer today, I mean, the movie is about a month away, so it makes sense. But also, the Batman is in theaters this week, and they want to, just smart marketing. They want to put their movie out so that it's attached to the Batman, because I think the Batman's going to do very, very well, and a lot of people are going to see it. What do you think about that?
So I have no intention to seeing the Batman. You already know this. And for our viewers out there, I have nothing against Batman. I absolutely have nothing against Batman. I'm just not the biggest Robert Pattinson fan. And it's funny how you mentioned about a Marvel, character, the trailer coming out the week of a DC, character movie, because my good friend Nick over it out earlier. He loves a good DC movie. Now, there's context behind this. When promoting or when, typing up the description for this live stream, I, so carelessly put that Morbius is a DC movie. Fake fan. You said at the top of the show, this is our favorite character from Marvel.
No, I corrected your minor miscue. That's okay, because as of right now, he's not in the MCU. And maybe he never will be, but he could be, because there are characters, as we're going to see in this trailer and in previous trailers, who are in the MCU. So I think with that, Brittany, let's go to the trailer. Let's watch the final trailer of Morbius. And then we'll share our comments after we watch it.
For sure. So for those of you who are joining us, yes, we will be live streaming this trailer. This is a reaction from both of us, and leave your comments in the chat below, and we'll be sure to talk about it a little bit more. So let's get into it, Justin.
Michael Morbius. Discover who you're meant to be. The bad guy.
Michael, what have you done?
I was trying to help people. But the cure, it's a curse.
Michael.
There we go.
I have powers that can only be described as superhuman. But there's a cost. Now, I face a choice. To hunt and consume blood. Or die.
We all have monsters within us. It's up to us to control it.
What if I can't?
Michael Morbius. You've been given a gift.
Not exactly.
Time to let go of what you used to be.
Discover who you're meant to be.
All our lives we've lived with death. Why shouldn't they know what it feels like for a change? Just accept who you are.
The bad guy.
Morbius.
Holy water? Really?
Yeah. You ever see Lost Boys?
Story of my life.
A new Marvel Legend arrives exclusively in movie theaters April 1st.
A new Marvel Legend, indeed. I'm excited. I've been excited for this movie really the last couple of months. So, so Brittany, what are your initial thoughts on seeing the final trailer for Morbius?
So, again, you know, we've said it at the very top of the show. I know nothing about Morbius. I thought he was part of DC, and I think the reason I even said that
you thought it was DC.
Yeah, I said that at the top of the show, Justin.
No, you put he was an MCU character.
No, what I was talking about when Nick put in the chat, love a good DC movie, that was what he and I were talking about.
Gotcha.
Listening, Justin, is essential.
Well, I mean, Jared Leto was the Joker in DC.
Yeah, I know, but given aside from that, with Morbius, to me, it's almost like it could be a DC movie, and that could be like a redemption for DC in a way, because like they need a good movie. Maybe it will be the Batman.
Yeah,
maybe
I think they got a good movie this week. Yeah.
Okay. Beside the point. We're gonna stay on track. So with Morbius, like the look of it, you know how dark it is. To me, it kind of gave off that DC vibe when I first saw the trailer in theaters. I can't even tell you what movie it was that we were watching, but anyway, you know, the fact that it had been delayed 6 times, right? And now the fact that we're getting it on April Fool's Day, you know, I'm not holding a lot of stock to that because April Fool's.
Yeah.
But you know, it looks really cool. It looks really dark. We have like the demonic, you know, vampire kind of look. And so I have questions, of course. I have questions about Michael Keaton in this movie.
Yep.
And his significance. Who's his character? Because the fact that I went on IMDb, everyone's listed except Michael Keaton's character.
Yeah, he's the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, Adrian
I just needed that confirmed. Yeah, I just needed that confirmed. So yeah.
No, yeah, I mean that's the thing about this, and I highlighted the fact that it's been delayed several times. I want to point out, like, it's not been delayed because they've been reworking the movie or reshoots. It was delayed mostly because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But this most recent delay was solely because Spider-Man No Way Home, which is also a Sony Pictures movie, was making so much money. They didn't want to compete against themselves by putting out Morbius. Now, Morbius is not going to do as well as Spider-Man. I mean, probably nowhere close. But they didn't want to cut into Spider-Man at all. And or more so, they didn't want to like bury Morbius by having it come out. Because originally it was going to come out, well, not originally, but for this year, it's going to come out in January, like end of January. So by pushing it back to April, I think Spider-Man's run will be gone because Spider-Man's coming to digital release, I believe, the end of March. So Spider-Man's still in theaters currently, but I'm sure it's probably got a week or two left and then it's out of theaters. So it was a strategic move. It's not because the movie is bad or they've been redoing it or whatever, because I'm pretty sure it's been in the can for about 2.5, 3 years. And, you know, like it says, the third trailer, the thing that strikes me most about this trailer is besides Michael Keaton, there are no Spider-Man Easter eggs. And that was the thing about the first 2 trailers, specifically the second trailer, is they really wanted you to know that this was in the Spider-Man universe. But the question was which Spider-Man, because they show the Oscorp. Well, we know Oscorp doesn't exist in Tom Holland's universe, right? But it was the Oscorp building that was in Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man series. Then they show you the Daily Bugle newspaper. It's the same font and the same look as the Daily Bugle in Spider-Man the Sam Raimi series, right?
Yeah, right.
So, and then the only connection to Tom Holland's universe was obviously a big one, the fact that Michael Keaton, who played the Vulture, is in that movie. So
yeah,
I thought it's interesting how the previous trailer was heavy on the Spider-Man Easter eggs, and this time they didn't have any of those. So, and I do think that it looks like a movie that could stand on its own. It doesn't, I mean, yes, he's a Spider-Man villain / like anti-hero, kind of on the long lines of Venom, which, you know, it's Venom in the same universe. I thought that was very interesting how they're trying to like not mention Spider-Man, and I wonder if it's going to be a Spider-Man surprise in the movie, or if, like I said, they believe it can stand on its own.
Well, you know what, Justin? I want to get another watcher's point of view on this. We're going to welcome our good friend, Frank Cooper, is in the house.
Hey, Frank.
Looks like he's got some audio issues right now, Frank.
Yeah.
You know, technology, all this happens. We're just going to keep on trucking. But yeah, I mean, Justin, you make a lot of good points right now. And the fact that there were no connections to Spider-Man whatsoever in this trailer was so strange, other than the fact that you still had, you know, like you said, Vulture, which is in the Tom Holland Spider-Man. So, you know, there's this thing now with like trailers that they want to just show everything good in the trailer, and then you go to the movie and you just like, you've already basically seen it all because it was in the trailer. So hopefully there's something that's going to be left as a surprise, as a shock, or that kind of thing.
I think the Spider-Man stuff might be the shock. I don't think we're going to see any version of Spider-Man in this movie, but I think there will be more connections that we'll be seeing.
Yeah. So
Frank, are you up and running yet? I can't tell. Doesn't look like it.
He's still working on it. So hopefully he'll get that all sorted. But in the meantime, Justin, shall we kind of break down, you know, the various scenes that we saw in this trailer?
Yeah,
or
if you just want to replay it without the sound, we can just kind of go over it again and just look at it.
Totally do that. So yeah, lots going on. The fact that Matt Smith is in this movie too. I mean, he's kind of well known for being in Doctor Who. And then more recently for me, because I watched The Crown on Netflix, he played Prince Philip in his younger years. So, you know, that was kind of cool.
Well, his character, which is not really revealed so much in the trailers, but from all that I've read and from what I've kind of seen about the movie, so his character, Michael Morbius and this character that's the friend played by Matt Smith, they were friends growing up. Matt Smith's family is very fluent. But they both have the same blood disorder, which is causing, which is what Michael Morbius is looking to cure, right?
Right.
So he goes on this adventure to cure it. Obviously, he gets, you know, bitten by bats or whatever, and he develops superpowers. Well, Matt Smith's character, you know, he learns about this and he wants to take that power for himself. So it appears he's the villain in the movie, and that Morbius will be an anti-hero in this film. But I do think eventually he'll be a villain against Spider-Man down the road.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's the thing. So with Morbius, and hopefully, you know, Frank will be able to sort out his technical difficulties. But he has some sort of very rare blood disorder, as you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that he's trying to like, find a cure. It basically turns him into a vampire, and like, as a vampire may go, you know, you usually have like tendencies of like, you're just out for blood. You're not like here to do good things, like with Blade. So I'm sure like there's some sort of connection between Morbius and Blade, and I'm not I'm not really up on Blade. I mean, I've watched the movies. It's been a long time since I've watched the movies, but I don't know a whole heck of a lot about Blade, like you or Frank may know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a direct connection. I mean, obviously they're all Marvel characters, and there could be some kind of crossover or correlation. But again, like Blade is MCU, and
right.
and Morbius is a Spider-Man universe Sony character. So, which we're seeing that crossover, obviously, No Way Home and possibly other movies coming down the road. Which maybe it's included in this movie, but as of right now, they're just building this character up, much like how they did with Venom in the first Venom film. So
is it like he's going to be set up to be like the anti-hero,
yeah,
kind of like
I think
like a Deadpool kind of thing?
Yeah, or just like Venom, honestly.
Just a Venom. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a lot going on back here, y'all. Appreciate you, working with us. And
living next to a fire station, you get to hear sirens all the time, and they always find a way while we're on the show. So I apologize for that, but the sirens are on my end. Looks like Frank's back.
You guys hear
Frank,
me?
are you here?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go, Frank.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what's going on with my mic. I've been having mic issues the last 2 weeks now. Okay. All right.
Glad you're here. So have you had a chance to watch the trailer for Morbius?
I did.
Okay.
I mean, the only difference I saw was all the Spider-Man stuff that we saw in the previous 2 trailers.
Right.
They took out. So I don't know if anything with Doctor Strange and what's coming up with his movie has to do anything with it. If they don't want to give too much away. What it did keep was the Vulture cameo. So I don't know what they're gonna do. It looks like maybe they're just kind of trying to confuse us as far as like not giving us too much away. But this comes out April 1st, so that comes out before Strange.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know what the plan is. Maybe I know this movie was shot like 2 years ago, so maybe they just try to clean some things up. But it's kind of hard to unsee everything you saw in the first 2 or 3 trailers too. So
exactly.
But visually looks great. Jared Leto looks great. The action looks great. I'm really excited to see where the story goes in this Spider-Man Sony universe.
So Frank, you have a better working knowledge of like comics and comic book characters and things like that. What do you know of Morbius other than the fact that he's a doctor who has a rare blood disorder, he's trying to find a cure, ends up turning himself into a vampire?
Yeah, so from what I know, I didn't read any Morbius comic books, standalone comic books, but he's been a featured character in a Blade series. Starting out, he was a villain. He was a villain, a Spider-Man and Blade villain, and then later on in the Marvel universe, comic book wise, he became an anti-hero. So it looks like from what we've seen from the trailers, it looks like he's going to be more of this anti-hero trying to find a balance between being, a good guy, trying to find come across all this new power, and then trying to, survive his thirst, for survival as well. So he is a famous Spider-Man and Blade villain. So the rumors I have been hearing too is that we might get a Muhammad Ali cameo as well. I mean, that's what I've been hearing, because Blade, the Blade movie has made a lot of noise as well as far as picking up steam on who might be showing up in cameos, and he is a famous Blade villain as well. So we shall see.
And that's
it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, that's just interesting with the whole Mahershala Ali, cameo maybe, or some kind of nod towards him, because obviously we know Blade is going to be coming in the future, but we've also kind of had a hint of him at the end of Eternals. So those little drops here and there, that could make a lot of sense. Frank, Justin, what were you gonna say?
No, I think if Blade is in this movie at all, it'll have to be like a post-credit scene. Just like the timing of everything, the way, like this movie was made 2-3 years ago. I'm not sure when Mahershala Ali was cast as Blade, but I think it was about around that time, or maybe within that window. So I don't know. We'll see. The the last time that Sony used an MCU character, the MCU in the very next movie kind of undid that with Venom. So I think I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. I think that we're going to see some kind of Spider-Man thing. But I think, like Frank said, it definitely looks like Morbius is an anti-hero, which is just like how Venom is in the Venom movies. But eventually, these guys are going to be Spider-Man villains, I would think. So it's only a matter of time. But yeah, I'm really excited to see the movie. What are y'all's kind of final thoughts on Morbius before we move on?
Ladies first.
Oh, I mean, like I said earlier, it looked dark. I mean, it looks like a very dark film given the context now. Now that I know Morbius a little bit better. To me, like I said, it still looks like it could have been a DC movie. And this is where I fail as a fan, for pop culture. But I think it's gonna look great, and I love Jared Leto. I think, albeit his interpretation or his adaptation rather of Joker was kind of strange. I think when you present him a role, like, he's gonna kill it no matter what. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a great movie. Frank.
I mean, if this is done right, if Sony does this right, you can have a successful Spideyverse with Venom, Morbius. There's a Craven the Hunter flick coming out in the next couple of years. You have Black Cat, Felicia Hardy. If they do this right, you can create this whole universe and pick and choose what Spider-Man you want to introduce to this universe, because these are very strong characters. Venom's a very strong character. Morbius is a very, very prominent, strong character in the Marvel universe. So, and Jared Leto is he's a method actor. He's one of those guys. He's going to bring his all. I put him up there in the coming batch level of acting, as far as he gets enthralled in the role and he just goes with it, and he takes it to a whole nother level. So Sony has a gold mine to do it right.
Does Morbius control bats? I'm curious.
He can't control them, but he can speak to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That make a lot of sense. I'm just curious because as we're talking and I'm rewatching this trailer over and over, I see, bats, and I'm just like, well, can he control them?
Yes, on our radar.
Okay.
As well. So yeah, he's legit. He's a powerful entity in the Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Justin, what are your thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see it. I mean, I saw Uncharted, another Sony movie. Loved Uncharted. I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. I love my PlayStation 4. I'm just a Sony pony. Like, I'm down for whatever Sony's putting out. I'm picking it up. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh goodness,
I'm ready for it. I'm looking forward to it. And unfortunately, there's another bat-related movie that's coming out first. I think it might be a little bit better. It might do slightly better at the box office, and that's the Batman. But yeah, this movie looks awesome. Really, I'm not, like, no joke. Like, I'm really excited to watch this movie. And a couple of years ago when the first trailer dropped, and we all kind of watched it and we're like, oh, that looks okay, but I wasn't like that excited. But now I'm like, this looks really good. So
I have a question, and maybe y'all can answer this for me. In the terms of Morbius, having basically turned himself into a vampire, can he control the change at will, or does it control him? Because it seems like maybe throughout clips in this trailer, it kind of just seems like it springs up on him,
This is Hollywood taking effect. So in the books, Morbius is that version where he's like the monster looking. That's Morbius now. The mutation in the comic books made him permanently like that. This is Hollywood getting a beautiful actor playing this role and trying to appeal to the ladies and trying to appeal to society of trying to push the aura of this movie. But no,
they're being successful. Okay, I'm just saying.
I mean, look, Jared Leto's a handsome guy. Like, I get it. I totally get it. If you're Sony / Marvel, you want to bring somebody that people can relate to, guys want to be, and women fawn over. So I get it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good to know. I mean, because like we just barely passed up that scene that I'm talking about where it seems like it controls him. Like right here. Look, I mean, he just transforms from Jared Leto to rawr. Sorry, I just wanted to go back and forth like that. So I was just curious.
Point out something in the chat. Our friend Drew When I was talking about my love for Sony, he said I have a Sony Walkman and a Sony Discman. So he's
that's old school.
He's on the Sony train also. That's I definitely had one of those. I think I had a Discman. Yeah, I know I did. I had one at one point. I think I dropped it and broke it, like when I was like in the 7th grade or something.
Oh my goodness.
Drew is old school, man. Shout out to Drew.
Good stuff,
man.
Good stuff.
So Drew also talked about he calls a Spider-Man, Moon Knight, and Daredevil triple team up. I think that's what he means to say, not teacup, team up.
Sounds like a hell of a cup of tea, though, to me too. You know, like,
yeah, for sure.
Is that green tea? Is it like caffeinated, or like what's the deal with that?
Green tea has caffeine in it, so you know, anything's possible.
Yeah. So moving on to the next little topic, I just want to ask you all. So over the weekend, I got a chance to watch Free Guy. Free Guy is on HBO. It's on both HBO Max and Disney Plus, which I think is interesting. It's on both because it's a 20th Century Fox movie, but of course, then it was delayed a couple times. Also, 20th Century Fox was purchased by Disney before this movie came out, so that's why it ended up on Disney Plus. But it's also on HBO Max because they had existing contracts with streamers and stuff like that. But anyway, my question is, have y'all seen Free Guy yet?
No, and I heard it wasn't worth it.
Okay.
I have not. I didn't know.
Not.
I didn't know Disney owned the properties to that, but it makes sense since it's Fox.
So I watched it, and it's a very video gamey movie. You know, it's about a character stuck in a video game, which, okay, got it. But there is a very cool cameo late in that movie. Super cool cameo that both of y'all will very much appreciate. So I would say it's worth a watch. There's a really cool thing, and like, you know, I mean, it's also Ryan Reynolds, so it's not like a bad movie. It's
okay.
I mean,
is it Deadpool?
Well, there's a Deadpool Easter egg in the movie also, but no, it's something else. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's worth watching. You're going to get excited when you see this moment toward the end of the movie. Guaranteed. It's awesome. I was not expecting it, and it was like, wow, that's cool. So anyway, don't want to spoil it, but all I'll say is an hour and a half into the movie, something cool happens. So you can fast forward if you want to. I gave you the timestamp. There you go. So the last thing I wanted to get to today, and this is just such a bizarre topic, and I think I sent Brittany the link. If you could show me and Frank and show our audience what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So last week, the Oscars announced that they're going to have a category that you can vote on Twitter, and it's called the Oscar Cheer Moment. Like the top 5 moments where people were cheering in movie theaters or cheering about movies. And I was like, okay, that's not a bad idea, right? But then you see the movies they selected, and I don't understand this list of movies. So as you can see, Brittany, the first one it's okay. So first off, let me just say, the list is not from 2021 movies. It's just from movies of any time period, which, I mean, that's okay, whatever. The first moment, Avengers Assemble, one of the greatest moments in movie history. It should win this thing hands down. It makes sense. But Brittany, if you'll scroll down so everybody can see the rest of it, there's 5 nominees. Okay, there's from Dreamgirls. There's a scene from Dreamgirls, which is a 2006 musical. Okay, I don't understand that. Then we've got the original. We've got Neo dodging bullets, which is a cool moment from 1999. I don't understand that.
I was 10 years old in 99.
The next moment, you have Spider-Man, the team up from No Way Home, which makes sense. Biggest movie of 2021. I get it. And then the final moment is from the Snyder Cut. It's the Flash Speed Force scene. Again, a movie that wasn't in theaters. So, I don't understand the cheer part of it. What do y'all think about this bizarre list of movies in this category? Brittany, go first.
Oh, no, I'm going to let Frank weigh in first.
This the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped fucking with them the minute that there was no black nominees and brown nominees 4 years ago. Like, fuck the Oscars, bro. Like, this is an insult to my intelligence, dog. Like,
No, I agree with you. This category, like I'm saying, if you just go through these movies, it doesn't make sense. There's only Spider-Man was released in 2021 in theaters, and only Spider-Man and the Snyder Cut were from 2021. The other 3 movies are from other years, And besides Endgame, which Endgame is by far the answer to this question, or the one that should win, because it's the most hyped as hell moment of these moments.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of, I just don't understand who put this list together, how it was determined. It just doesn't make sense. Like, wasn't the speech in Braveheart like a bigger cheer moment than Neo dodging bullets? Yeah, or like, I mean, there's got to be tons of movies where there were like bigger moments than that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think the Oscars used the time stone to go back in time and like watch every single fucking moment in theaters when these people did what they did in these movies. I'm surprised that Titanic's not there, where Jack like this is why black people don't fuck with the Oscars. I am the black representative with the Oscars. They assert your intelligence every fucking year with these horrible movies that nobody fucking watches, or they have black and brown representation in these movies. Now you pull out movies from 15 fucking years ago, movies don't even match up and sync up with like you show some from Dreamgirls, then you have some from Avengers. Like that's not even the same like genre.
No, like
because the rest they're all action, with the exception of Dreamgirl. That's a musical. I mean, Matrix is sci-fi action, right? Spider-Man is sci-fi action, and Flash is sci-fi action.
Three of the movies are superhero movies, which that makes sense. But then like it's like I was telling you off mic, Brittany, like any moment from the Snyder Cut is not better than any moment in Avengers Endgame. And I like the Snyder Cut, but I mean, like they're just not comparable. Like, what about like there's moments in Star Wars that would have huge cheer moments. You know what I'm saying? Like when Vader reveals he's Luke's father. That's not a huge moment. Maybe you're not cheering, but it's like a big moment in a movie. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it at all.
But it's just the Oscar committee, like, just backhanding compliment superhero movies. Like Martin Scorsese a couple years ago said that Marvel superhero movies aren't real movies. They shouldn't be regarded as art. And like these Marvel movies and superhero movies, they trump all other movies over the last 15 years. They don't get their respect. So for the Oscars to backhand compliment these superhero movies by putting a fucking fan internet voting thing for movies that are not in the same time period or in the same genre is just a waste of my fucking time.
Yeah, but then it's like, why not make it all superhero movies, or why not make the category the category just doesn't make sense. Like I like boggles the mind. The first time I saw it, I was like, I don't understand this. Like it's so weird. And like what Martin Scorsese said about Avengers, I think he was specifically talking about Marvel movies. I hope he realizes that without those movies, there would be no movie theaters for his movies to be seen in. Because I mean, literally, like Spider-Man: No Way Home, it was keeping theaters open. I mean, seriously, if all the superhero movies went away and they all went to Disney Plus or they all went to HBO Max or whatever, theater chains would close. They would close because movies don't. Besides the superhero movies, none of the other movies make money. They don't keep the lights on. They really don't.
And unlike Martin Scorsese's last few films, his 3-hour movies aren't fun to watch.
No.
Marvel is.
Snyder Cut, I know, not Marvel. Snyder Cut was not fun to watch either, and that took 2 weeks to watch. So anyway,
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not on the level of Endgame though. Like that's dumb. Like that's just real dumb. Like when Captain America says "Avengers Assemble" with everyone on the Marvel side going to fight Thanos, you're gonna say that compares to the Flash running back in time for like the 14th
arguably
movie? Like.
Arguably in the same movie in Endgame. I think my cheer moment, aside from Avengers Assemble, was when Cap got Mjolnir. When
exactly. Yeah.
He got the hammer. I remember watching the movie with y'all and on IMAX, and the dude sitting next to us, he's just like, "Fuck yeah!" It was great.
Yeah.
How about a great moment.
How about when Tony Stark snaps his fingers and says, "And I am Iron Man," which. The beginning of the MCU, he said, "I'm Iron Man" at that press conference to start off the whole thing. Then his last movie, his last words were, "I'm Iron Man." Like, that's hype as hell. Like, you tell me, like, that's not a bigger moment than Neo dodging bullets, which he does, like, in 3 or 4 of those movies? Or some random scene from Dreamgirls, which is a musical. Like, I mean, just like,
don't knock on musicals, okay? I love musicals, but
have you seen Tick, Tick, Boom with Andrew Garfield?
I have not.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
And he got nominated for an Oscar for his performance.
So Nick over in the UK says that Claire, his wife, says that Neville killing Nagini should win. Listen, Potter fans, that was a big deal when Neville Longbottom, the boy who, you know, just couldn't stand up for himself in movie 1, he gets that sword and he kills that snake. Yeah, that's a pretty big moment. I agree. Claire, I'm with you on that.
What about the first time we see a T-Rex in Jurassic Park or something? You know, like, or, I mean, there's so many moments from movies like Jaws. Like the first time Jaws pops out of the water with his like mouth open, about to eat somebody. Like, you're not telling me that's not like a cool moment? Like,
yeah.
Now I don't know anybody who's rooting for the shark, but like,
you would be.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's fair, but I don't know. I just think it's really dumb. I won't watch the Oscars anyway, but I saw that on social media the other day, and I was just like, we got to talk about this because it's just so stupid.
The only way I watch the Oscars is Ricky Gervais comes back and like clowns every fucking body like he did 2 years ago. That's the only way I watch the Oscars.
Ricky Gervais
I think that was
legend.
Was that the Oscars or that was the Golden Globes? I think.
Oh, the Golden Globes. Okay.
Either way.
Yeah.
Because that's the one where they drink. Like they're all liquored up. Like that's like part of like the appeal of it is that they're all at this like swanky Hollywood place and they're serving them drinks or whatever. So
yeah, he makes it fun.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got. Y'all got anything else you want to talk about?
Man, shout out to Brett, man. She finally knocked out the Daredevil series over the last couple weeks. Like we was texting back and forth. She's like, man, I'm stressed, bro. Like she's like going through all the seasons and Kingpin and Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Like George and I have been telling her for the last like 5 years, like watch this series, and I'm finally glad that she was able to watch it. And shout out to Charlie Cox, shout out to Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
Okay, him. So I can't wait to see what Marvel has planned for Kingpin and Daredevil here on out. So shout out to Brad watching that.
Yeah, I mean, like I know George out of the lot of us, like he's the one that can really binge. I mean, I can too if I'm like really motivated, and I was motivated because as y'all know, Daredevil along with like Luke Cage, the Punisher, Jessica Jones, the Defenders, they're all leaving Netflix after today. And so I was like, okay, Frank and company have been telling me to watch Daredevil for years, like he said, and I started watching the first episode and I was like, okay, like this is good. Like, and I just kept going and the cliffhangers were fantastic, like first and foremost. But Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, be it in the suit or in the all black, dude is cold. Like he and I know he can do a lot of his own stunts, like a lot of the basic kind of things. But even his stunt double to do all the extra stuff, fantastic choreography. And yes, Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk was written so well. And the fact that, you want to kind of try to figure him out, but he's really like 5-10 steps ahead of you. And his character was just written so well. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm really mad at myself that I didn't watch this sooner. That way I could have watched Defenders, Punisher too. I can totally understand why he got his own show after his appearance in season 2. Frank Castle, goddamn. And I can't think of the actor off the top of my head, but yeah, another
John Barenthal.
Fantastic performance. And yeah, so I'm fingers crossed that these shows that are leaving Netflix are going to show up either on Hulu or if it's going to be Disney Plus, in times to come. Justin, you had mentioned something about Disney Plus Canada was going to get something.
Yeah,
someone's on fire again.
Yeah. Yeah, Disney Plus in Canada is going to have the Defenders Netflix shows starting in March. So
yeah.
So I mean, it's only a matter of time before that happens for us too. I would assume. So
yeah, I mean, it was really well done. And yes, Frank, like he said, in the second to final episode of the final season, my anxiety was so bad. Like, I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, what the fuck is gonna happen? And so my heart's just like palpitating. Y'all know I have a heart thing. And I'm texting Frank, and he's not texting me back immediately. And I'm like, God damn it, I need to talk to you about this. But yeah, it was a really good show. So Justin, whenever it does come on, other streaming platforms, I know you started
I'm on
season
episode
1.
9 of season 1. I've been there for like a year. Yeah.
I know you started it, and listen, it does not
Yeah.
disappoint. And I totally agree with Frank when he said that season 2 was his favorite, and then season 3, and then season 1. I would have to put it in the same order as well. Like, it was really well done.
It's just great story writing. With Marvel, with the MCU, you have 10, 12 years to create this story arc. They did this shit in like 3 years, in like 13 episodes apiece. And for me, it's hard to keep my attention. So to do it for 13 episodes, what was that, 36 episodes or whatever, over a 3-year span is so impressive. And like Daredevil, he made me care about Jessica Jones. He made me care about Luke Cage. He made me care about Punisher. And like, everything was centered around Daredevil. And like, I just felt like having a character like that be so magnetic to where it infuses you to care about other characters in that world. And this is all like in New York. People forget, like, you have Harlem, Hell's Kitchen, downtown, like, and this is all in like a 40 block radius. So like the continuity was incredible too. I just love it, man. I can't wait to see Charlie Cox again.
And now, because Justin, I remember it was either you or Frank had asked how the audience reacted when Matt Murdock was in Spider-Man No Way Home. How did everyone react? And really, like, no one really reacted. I know who he was because of the fact that Frank and company have told me for so many years who he is and what have you. I'm like, oh shit, that's Matt Murdock, But now, having watched the show, I can really now appreciate Charlie Cox as a performer and what he brings to the Matt Murdock character and Daredevil. So yes, I'm entirely excited to see the future of Daredevil in the MCU. I need more seasons because I have questions and I need answers.
I think it's going to continue
Good.
Obviously it won't be the same level, maybe as it was on Netflix, but I think that character is going to continue. So
yeah.
They've been very quiet about what they plan to do. They do have plans for Daredevil, but they've been, MCU, Kevin Feige and those guys, they just shut up. They shut up about it. So
they've got so much in the works all the time. So I just want to point out something. Go back to the cheer moment for a second. Drew had a good comment. He was talking about how, like, what about Dom Toretto winning a drag race? And you know what? I can't believe I didn't talk about the Fast franchise, because that's my franchise right there. And
that's your family.
I mean, seriously, in the first one, when they jump over that, they're racing, they jump over that train tracks or whatever. That's an awesome moment. That's a top 5 moment in the history of cinema in my mind. So, but back to that cheer moment thing real quick. I think the Snyder Cut thing is going to win, even though it's not. I mean, Assemble is the answer, but I think it's going to win because Snyder fans are crazy and they're going to tweet restore the Snyderverse and we want more Snyder Cut, Snyder forever and whatever. So I think that I think it's going to win because of their rabid fan base, which I wish we had a rabid fan base like that on social media. And Brittany, how can people find us on social media?
Oh goodness, that was funny, Justin. I like that. So yes, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching The Watchers in the Basement or Watchers Basement. And you can also help grow our audience by using the hashtag Watchers Basement when promoting our live streams, past episodes, things like that. Shout out to Drew and Nick, who have really helped us out, spreading the word about the Watchers in the Basement. We really appreciate your support as always. Nick did a really cool Instagram story over on his Instagram page, Walking with the Woods. So thank you so much to that. That was super, super cool of you to do that. And lastly, if you're not into video podcasts, you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. please give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy our banter. And we've got more content coming to you in the near future. And that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, thanks, Brittany. So for Brittany and for Frank, this is Justin saying we'll see you later. I'm going to watch the Batman on Thursday. I'll talk about it on Friday. So have fun. I am Vengeance. See you later. Bye-bye.